Hi, my name is Andreas Bareird, and I'm heading e-mobility within QAD, and I'm a proud member of NAATBatt and co-chair of the Onshoring committee.
Andreas, what are you currently working on?
Oh, that's a lot of different things. I think we have a lot of different balls in the air. Professionally in QAD, I'm supporting manufacturing and their supply chains with operating more efficiently, as well as onshoring to the US and scaling up. In that, but I am also supporting the similar kind of tranches of companies with coming over to the US, meeting local suppliers, and meeting the potential partners, both on the joint venture, commercialization, as well as manufacturing side.
And what are you currently excited about that you're working on?
I'm really excited about driving innovation and manufacturing to the US and supporting the development of the battery industry in North America.
And what are some of your current challenges that you're facing?
I think there's a lot of different challenges that we as an industry are facing. One of them is, of course, the competition from Asia when it comes to both the development of the battery industry as well as the adoption of it, as well as now they're also export capability. And that is putting a lot of strain on both European as well as US manufacturers. And in a very vital and important part when they're now scaling up and dealing with all of the challenges when they're scaling up. The other part that is challenging is, of course, the changing and the disrupted supply chains, who are supplying where, from, how. And those questions are not only on our side, they are also on our customer side of how they should be able to scale up and establish their supply chains in a cost efficient way. And when they are now coming to the US, also, they're just to put the elephant out of the room, the questions about how they're able to do so with setting up a new manufacturing site, while their workforce, their specialized knowledge to set that workforce up, are having some hurdles with getting into the country as well as staying in the country, setting up that manufacturing site. A lot of unanswered questions, but we're all working together in the benefit of driving the industry forward in the US.
Yeah, that's a very good summary of the challenges that those in the industry are facing right now. And is there an innovation or trend that you see that you think people should be paying more attention to?
I do see that the battery industry as we know it today is going to dramatically change in the future. We have looked at A, want to set up the battery manufacturing in North America using the already available technologic advancements that has been done in industry so far, and mass producing it, both for e-mobility as well as for other areas of the industry. You need batteries for everything. I think the whole notion of having e-mobility and battery is very limited. But if we're now expanding the view of where you need to have storage capability for energy, it's not only in e-mobility, it is within life science, and it is within consumer products. But more importantly, it's about national security. It's about how you do federated grid storage, and that is through BESS. And I think that is going to be a big focus point, a focal point for us in the future.
So, from your perspective in working with Europe and between Europe and the United States or North America in general, how do you see these collaborations and partnerships unfolding to support the growth of the industry?
So, a very good question. One thing that I do recognize is that we in the US, as well as in Europe, we are far behind. We have, on purpose, exported knowledge of manufacturing of batteries to Asia, and they have taken that knowledge and leaped forward. I do not believe we can take that race back again unless we are working together, collaborative, pre-competitive, pre-commercial sharing of knowledge, as well as supporting that with partnerships on both customer, suppliers, and joint venture side. But it's not only about Europe, it is also about our partners, our trading partners in Asia that are now seeing an opportunity. And that is also for the Chinese. an opportunity to come to the US and support the development of that battery industry in North America, Canada, Mexico, and work together with the local industry here. So the whole premise is that we together can accelerate the development and adoption of the battery industry. We can't do it alone. We will not be successful doing that alone competitively.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that and your perspectives on that. What makes you optimistic about the future of development in this industry?
I would actually start with what makes me pessimistic first. Um, I want to highlight the importance of the battery industry because in the e-mobility space, a battery is making a big part of the value of the vehicle. And once that is no longer being produced in the Western world, then a big chunk of that value creation or the importance for the OEMs, the car makers, are going away. But second part of it is what is that future going to look like for us if we do not have that industry in the West? And if not only for cars but also for other vital important parts of the industry of the infrastructure of the grid, if we don't have that capability in the Western world, then we are dependent. And I think that right now we're working in in a direction that is more for regionalization, and that means we need to be able to support ourselves in the regions. Now, what is making me optimistic about it is that we are having great advancements on the battery technology side. We are seeing improvements on battery safety, on energy storage, on how long the batteries can last with different components, as well as how much energy density we can put in. And that means that we will, in the future, I would almost say it like we're now at a pivotal point where we are talking about challenges with the batteries that we are experiencing today that will no longer be the case in the future. We will have batteries that outlast the vehicles. We will have batteries that outlast devices like cell phones. We will have batteries that has a lot more storage of energy inside, so that it will fuel the way we are living a lot more efficiently. But for the even more important part is that where will these batteries be applied? We do not know yet all of the different applications for the batteries that we are now developing today that can be used in future parts tomorrow. I sound like a future technologist here, but I am very optimistic about how we can better use this knowledge of how we can store energy for future applications.
That is so interesting to think about and just how, we're creating the technology that's going to unlock new possibilities of technology. And so I love that you highlighted that. And with your role with NAATBatt, first, take me back to when you first joined. How did you get involved in NAATBatt, and now what role are you in now?
Yeah. So there was a couple of this is a little bit of a personal story. I was working in a different field within QAD. QAD has always been great at manufacturers and their supply chain. And looking back, we have been supporting the battery world since Backstreet Boys released their first album. I take that with a lot of grain of pride. We supported other companies with their journey for manufacturing excellence with ERP and other solutions. But at one point, there was a startup that came to us and asked us, can you provide us with a scalable solution that can support us through the different parts from having an idea to having being a multinational company? And the startups are very volatile. They're changing every day. They need to have adaptive solutions. And as part of that, we support them on this journey. And that company is called Volta Trucks. They sadly did not make it. I think they were a little bit before their time, but other companies like that came afterwards, and we love to support that journey through the industrialization, the mass production, and so on. And at that time, it was winter, and we looked at, okay, where are other companies that are on such a journey that they need to have someone that supports them, and we came to a meeting in NAATBatt on their annual meeting, and we understood the market was a lot bigger of companies that both are existing, the traditional, as well as the new ones, but they are all in the same boat, having a scalable solution that they needed to join to work with. And then I was like, okay, how can we best support this community? How can we be part of this? And we joined in. We looked at how the different challenges were. I was part of the board at that time, and I got great insights in how the whole industry is working, how the different companies are collaborating or working together, as well as competing. And I saw a lot of interest in that collaboration. It was almost like a family in order to drive that battery industry forward. And as part of this, IRA, which is Inflation Reduction Act, which might in the future forget its meaning again, but the Inflation Reduction Act was a great policy for boosting forward onshoring of battery technology, that know-how that was so long and for a purpose at liberalism at that time, sent to the east, now had a capability of moving back again. And you started seeing this. There was a lot of disruption. There was a lot of companies that was like, oh no, all of our investments that we built up in Korea and Europe for serving the US market is no longer valuable. Well, I wouldn't say it's no longer valuable, but at one certain point they were like, okay, we do need to do something. We need to move over to the US. We need to make our batteries there. We need to have our supply chain with us. And it was a lot of different moving parts. It was challenging. What Fred Lee and myself then thought about, okay, how can we support these foreign companies coming over to the US or North America with their whole supply chain? Likely not that rapidly, but if we can help them with meeting the North American supply chain, the companies that are part of NAATBatt, also not part of NAATBatt, but are there already established, it can contribute with their knowledge, their manufacturing capabilities, and their know-how, and meet with the foreign companies, and then establish relationships. Then we can accelerate this development of the battery industry and support the main purpose of developing the battery industry in North America and the know-how, as well as yeah, I would almost call it the sustainability, the green targets, the green goals. And I believe in them, and I believe this is important for the industry. And we continued developing this onshoring committee to be that marketplace, to be that platform, to be that enabler of a foreign cooperation. So we started with deals with Korean Battery Industry Association (KBIA), with BASC, with several Europeans, and within very short time we had opportunity to meet with these organizations, create an MOU, which means how we are working together for the same goals. And it's a little bit of an interesting story. This little deal, which we started crafting on a conference on an evening, became suddenly a political takeover because the Korean minister was going to the US to meet with the Biden administration. So the president of both nations met, and with their whole delegations, they took this MOU that was consolidating KBIA and NAATBatt's relationships, and used this as a political vehicle in order to support the establishment between our two nations. And I thought that was really cool. That really gave me a little bit more drive to continue with this. And later on in the year, we had similar engagements with other nations, and also were invited to other places for roundtables and discussions in order to have this, I would almost call it platform for collaboration. So that's a little bit of a personal story. I think that this has been very, very effective and supporting the goal that we have in NAATBatt, but also the companies that are part of NAATBatt, supporting the companies that are members, that wants to have a broader field of both customers, suppliers, and as well knowledge.
Yeah, it's really incredible how this committee has evolved and been supporting, like you say, not just supporting companies in North America with how do you engage overseas and how do you maybe form these partnerships to support these companies coming into the US, but also in North America, but also how do you set up that stage to have these diplomatic talks about what's the future of policy and everything to shape how we successfully build this industry? That's incredibly powerful.
Hmm. Yeah, and I don't believe we are. NAATBatt is not an organization as a lobby organization, and we do not intend to be that. We are here for the industry to work together for that goal. But that aligns as well with policy, with the previous administration as well as this one. Um, it is how we can support battery production in North America, but by sharing, by knowledge sharing, by supporting the European as well, by supporting the Korean as well. And that made us interested party to Department of Commerce, and they asked us to participate in some of these roundtables, both in Washington as well as in with diplomatic missions in Norway, as well as in Germany, as well as in Japan. So it, for me, NAATBatt has been an enabler of those discussions on a political side. And I think that the political scene is also appreciating that.
Absolutely. And thinking about your work and your career, how has NAPBAT made a difference for you or your organization?
Yeah, so funny thing is that I did not study battery. I did not study the chemistry. I did not study manufacturing. I studied political science, and I kind of came back to that again. So I'm supporting battery manufacturers with scaling up both established as well as the new entrants. But NATBatt became that home for these manufacturers to collaborate, and they needed support with having that platform where they could meet and do and make partnerships. So, from my end, I think I personally gained from this one by the experience within the industry and understanding as well as network, the valuable network. We know who's coming to the US. We know who in the US are interested in meeting with the foreign battery companies, and we can build that bridge. We are not being the one that coordinates anything further, but we understand the platform and the importance of that platform. And due to that, I have a lot of good friends on both sides of the Atlantic as well as the Pacific. And would encourage anyone in NAATBatt to be part of the onshoring committee in order to have benefit from the global aspect that NAATBatt has.
And what would you say to a company considering joining NAPBAT?
Why are you not a member already? We are supporting the industry with moving forward, not only for cell manufacturers or battery components or battery pack, but the whole industry that is surrounding the industry, meaning we have companies that are supporting the building of these manufacturing plants, the construction companies, the SIs, the law firms, the architects, the energy companies, the states. But we are all doing this because we believe that the value of working together, the way forward, we can only do this together and establish the battery industry in the US together. And this is the also it's the only way forward. We cannot build the battery industry in the US unless we're working together on this. And you can do that with NATBatt, within our, I don't know, the latest member count, the 400 members or so. We're all in it together. So
Yeah, we indeed are. And what are some of your guiding values?
integrity. Integrity is doing the right thing when nobody's watching. And that means whatever kind of plan you have, you're building up your profile based on who you want to be, and then you need to follow that through. You need to be true to yourself. And that means when nobody's watching, you're still doing the right thing. And if you believe in that, then I think we can all make good partnerships and commercial partners as well.
What are you most proud of professionally?
Supporting Professionally supporting both the onshoring committee, growing it from having 5 founding members to now being one of the biggest ones within NAATBatt. That's really exciting within 3 years' time, as also one of the most active committees. On the second part of it is to support manufacturing companies with going from 0 to 100 and becoming multinational, bigger companies. But most importantly, I am very proud of doing that all while I'm also establishing a family. So I have 3 wonderful kids, and giving them the opportunity to live in this future new world is important to me.
Wow, yeah, and what do you like to do then when you're not working in the world of batteries?
I'm a very active father, so we have a lot of activities for our kids, and we like to take them out. We like to travel and give them a world view with a lot of exposure to other things that they are not being exposed to in their local environment, as well as sports. So we have them going out and also seeing what other futures they could have within baseball, dancing, or other kinds of sports. But we also do like to try other new things. So right now, next weekend, if you are in the Grand Rapids region, we are going to participate and support the local Oktoberfest there.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Hmm. Okay, yeah. I do also would like to highlight that there's in Michigan, there's a great area for innovation. We have a lot of battery companies, both established as well as new entrants. There's also a lot of international people here that have been supporting these and supporting them through NordCham, the Norwegian Chamber of Commerce that was established recently in order to support the onshoring of the Norwegian companies that are interested, as well as the German, as well as all of the other. We are all in this together, and it's incredibly exciting and also nourishing for your own self to make these networks and friends as part of the industry.
Well, thank you so much, Andreas, for sharing your insights and perspectives.
And thank you very much for inviting me to participate here. I love to see how we can support each other.